Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Real with Omar, special guest that I'm about to introduce. Author, Mr. America, Mr. USA, a friend of mine for more time that I'm going to put on the air because then it'll age me and you'll see him and you'll be like, yo, this doesn't make sense because he looks so young compared to you. Oh, yeah. Doesn't make sense. So Butch Nieves, author of Train Hard, Train Smart, Have Fun. Butch, thanks for having you on the show. And also master trainer, Derek Bautista, who is also the, what was his name? The genetic what?
The genetic
jackhammer is here live in the studios today. Thank you. Guys, you are definitely the people that know me the longest to ever step foot into the podcast. And I really want to appreciate your time and say thank you for coming, first of all.
I want to say thank you for inviting us. This is great.
It's about time. Yeah,
absolutely. It's great to see you and great to do something like this and talk a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I think the last time we were all seated together in any capacity, Bill Clinton was president. And we all had hair. I mean, it was exciting.
I definitely had hair at one point in my life.
Oh, I had a wig. That was a wig. Yeah, so.
The big secret.
We can talk about that now?
We can talk about it now.
All right, so Butch, just to give a little context to the clients or to the viewers, sorry. I know Butch since I would go 95.
Even before that.
Before that, you think?
Before that, yeah.
93, 94.
94. I was introduced to Butch by my stepfather who's passed away, rest in peace, Danny. And he had a little gym on Bruckner Boulevard.
Did you have to say little?
Well, it's not huge. It was nice. All right, so it was a boutique gym.
Well, it was actually 8,000 square feet.
Was it that? Oh, because it's two floors.
Two floors.
Trickster.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, 8,000 square foot fitness studio. All right, I'll clean it up for you. And it was the first time I had ever seen weights. Like I was a kid, used to play basketball, stuff like that. He was lifting weights, not bodybuilding, but just to be strong. And that's what introduced me to the gym. And I think it was a summer or something like that. And I think somebody had was leaving you, and you needed somebody to cover the front desk. And he plugged me. He said, "Yeah, you should work there. You should work there." And I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And we ended up being there. And you were my first employer, so thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Go.
Thank you very much.
How many years did you work? I mean, you worked for a lot of years, right?
Couple of years.
Well, you were in NYU
at least 3 or 4. Yeah. Before
college.
I was going into college, my first year, and 3 or 4 years. I was with you when you moved to White Plains Road to the bigger studio. To the bigger. All right.
That was a gym.
Okay.
The first 2 gyms. My first gym was called Butch's Fitness World.
Right.
So that was the first gym.
Original.
That was actually the biggest gym that I've ever owned.
Really?
Because it was 8,000 square feet on 2 floors, like you said.
Right.
And then the second gym was Iron Kingdom.
Right.
And that was 1 floor, but that was 5,000 square feet.
Right. But the roofs. The ceilings.
The ceilings were huge.
So it felt like you walked in. It was like a cavern.
Yeah,
right. It was cool.
And there's something that I've tried to maintain in all our studios going forward.
The big height?
The big height ceilings.
Okay.
Like if you come to our studio now, it has the big ceilings, and the airy feeling.
All right. And now you're running Butch's or Mr. America's boot camp?
Boot camp.
Okay. Is that a franchise or is that your thing?
Well, that's the hopes for future is to franchise it.
Okay.
So we call it Mr. America's Training Camp. Okay. And my son works with me now.
Right. I haven't met him yet. Maybe we'll have him on in the future episode.
You would love him.
He's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. Kid. Turned out to be a great trainer. Like people ask me how long he's been training. I think he's been training since he was 2.
Right.
Because I've been bringing him to the studio and he's been watching everything
through osmosis.
But the studio now is called Mr. America's Training Camp, and we're looking to franchise that.
Okay.
Because we have a good business model.
Right.
I mean, obviously we lasted through COVID.
Right.
So that was, it was
it's a testament
model.
to itself.
Right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
In that model, we have 3 aspects to it. We do the big groups, boot camps, and then we do something called team training.
When you see big groups, like how many people?
About 20 to 30.
20, 30 in one group session.
One group session, yeah.
Okay.
We kind of limit it right now to 24.
Right.
Because that's our, not that it's our capacity, but we see that that's about the max we can get where everybody being comfortable.
Okay.
And having enough space in between each other.
Right.
So everybody's comfortable. And, you got more free movement. You don't feel cluttered.
Right.
Then we of course we have personal training.
Okay.
1-to-1, where we have a few different coaches. And then we do something we call team training, which is kind of a morph between boot camp and personal training.
So talk about team training. What does that mean?
Team training, basically, you get a location in the gym, a spot.
Okay.
With that, you get a bench, a barbell, and some dumbbells. And we'll do 4 circuits. Each circuit has 3 parts to it.
Okay.
You know, so we have 2 trainers walking around, and we go over the circuit at the beginning, and then everybody gets to do their own circuit at their own time and their own level.
At their own pace.
At their own pace,
Right,
exactly.
right.
You know, so we go around perfecting the form, checking everything, and it's more weightlifting based. You know,
Okay.
we do a little bit of abdominals, a little bit of cardio, but it's not as fast paced as, let's say, the boot camps or something like that.
Right,
You know, so
right.
it's kind of a combination.
All right.
And you know, that's something totally separate from the boot camps.
So you've definitely evolved. Just to take us back in the early 90s or no? Yeah, early 90s. It was all weightlifting. It was all weightlifting. Now I want to talk about that because that's kind of like, I don't want to say the golden era. I'll just say that for me it was very special because I was a kid and I was around all these people. I mean, you were in your prime, right? You were competing for the Mr. USA, Mr. America, and things like that.
It was a golden era for me too.
All right, it was
all of us.
You know, that was a special time.
It was like the fucking time, and we can curse on it. I don't care. Because like they were like, you just kept seeing people like break limits, like dude, like wild shit. Like now, I guess the point of what I'm trying to get to is that the shit that I did when I was young with you guys is now looked at as some sort of like they call it crazy. They'd be like, that's crazy. Like, why would you do that? You know, well, who told you to do that? What what's wrong with you? And I think it's just a different culture now. I don't want to say we're softer, but I think we're softer.
Well, you want to hear a good story?
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Story time.
You had hired Omar, and he'd probably been there, I don't know, maybe 2 months or so. He started working out. So I had a couple of years on him, so I was feeling myself. I said, why don't you just train with me? He says, oh, okay. So I had just started doing deadlifts, and got up, for me, pretty heavy.
You were killing it.
So, show him how to do it. We go, 135, no problem. 185, 10, easy. 225, nothing. I'm like, this is his first time he's ever deadlifted in his life. Gets to 315 on his first shot. I'm shaking, and he's no problem. You want to talk about defeated? That was the first time
I never heard this story before.
Devastated in your life. I
So
said,
that's
we're
what
not training
happened to you.
anymore. Yeah,
That's what
I've been
happened to you.
devastated ever
You
since.
damaged him.
It's like 30 years later. I never heard this story before in my life.
I remember it like yesterday, as you could tell.
He's been in therapy ever since.
That's funny, man. Yeah, but you know what's funny is like there's a statement, right? You don't know what you don't know. I didn't know shit. I'm walking around with you guys because, obviously you've been doing it for years and you're like deep in the culture. You have people coming to visit you. You have professionals coming to the gym to work out and you see these mountains of people.
They're very intimidating.
Yeah, you're like, damn. But then you start thinking, oh, I guess that's regular shit, right? Like, oh, Butch squats 500 pounds. I guess that's what I got to squat. And then that's how you kind of morph, right?
Well, when I first started training, before I even owned the gym, I met a couple power lifters in an old gym called Metrofit, which is where I knew Danny from, And, I started training with them. I had no idea. I just did what they did. They kind of took me in and said, do this, do that. I had, like, my good training partner at the time was Nat Servino. And I had no idea, but he was ranked top 10 in the country in powerlifting.
Right.
So I'm just trying to keep up with him.
Right. You're like, if I can hang with him, right, I'm good.
I'm doing okay. But I had no idea that he was that strong.
Right. You had no idea he was nationally ranked.
Right. So at one point, I started training with other people. And I'm like, why is everybody so weak? Like, what's going on?
You're like, where are the rest of the weights, guys?
Like, this is all you're doing?
Fuck you
This
doing?
is a warm-up. We got to go heavier, But all the guys that I was training with were mountains, So, I mean, my heaviest squat was best was 710.
Wow.
Nats was 805.
Wow. But that's powerlifting or?
Powerlifting,
okay.
I did a high bar squat, I mean, if you know the difference. He did a low bar squat. But one of his part-time training partners was Joe Morelli, and he had a 950 squat.
Oh. Jesus fucking
So it was like,
you was about ego fucking deflation, right?
Yeah, you come in and you're like, you think you're doing good, and somebody's just like, pop, pop.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing, like I remember the gym, we had 100-pound plates,
right,
compared to everybody else
Never
on the leg
see
press,
that,
right? 45-pound plates. So I go to other gyms like, oh, I got to double everything. What is this? You know what I'm saying? But it's the shit like you grew up around, right? You grew up with like fucking animals. You become an animal. You just
I think what happened with Iron Kingdom is at the time I was competing at the first gym, Butcher's Fitness, we called it, right?
Right.
And I was getting into competition a little bit, nothing too crazy. And then we moved to Iron Kingdom, and I got in a little bit more into the competition, to bodybuilding. And at one point I thought, you know what, if I really focus. I might be able to win something like this. And I thought in my mind, I win this, it's going to make the gym
gates
flourish.
open, right?
Right. It's going to be a millionaire in the whole bit. And so I started designing the gym with what I needed
for your training
to win the top training.
Right.
And that attracted a lot of other top guys. And that's how we became the place in the Bronx to go to, with all the top pros were coming in, the top powerlifters were coming in, and we would all challenge each other. We used to have back in the day something called midnight squat parties. You didn't know about it.
No, I didn't know. I was too young.
We would,
I couldn't get out the house at the time.
but we would meet at midnight, and we would just squat until we all dropped, and the guy left standing would get free drinks at the bar.
Oh shit!
And we would do that.
How long would that go for? Like an hour or two?
That would go about 2-3 hours sometimes.
Jesus
so like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we're in the bar, and
fucking
bar,
legs cramping,
pounding. It was like, oh,
legs cramping. Yeah.
But we did insane things like that.
Yeah.
Fun.
And that's what that was our pastime.
Yeah.
And to go back to your original thing is like, a lot of people don't have that work ethic anymore.
Nah.
They want the notoriety, they want the fame, but they don't put the work in. I'm sorry to say. I see a lot of my son shows me, Dad, what do you think about this guy? I'm like, he's got no legs.
Where's the rest of him?
Or he's got no thickness, or he's Instagram famous, but he could never compete.
Right.
You see some of these guys, they look enormous and they're all juiced up, and that's okay.
They good angled.
Right.
Yeah.
But they can never step on stage and win a bodybuilding
under
competition.
the lights. Yeah, under
You know
the
what
lights.
I mean? Let's say
yeah.
they don't have the aesthetics, they don't have that complete physique.
Right, the symmetry, all that shit that they don't know what they're what they're looking for. Stand to your left, stand to your right. Why? Right?
Right.
Yeah.
But they're making a huge income.
Right.
So they're making a big impact. And unfortunately, too, the other side to that is that you have a lot of influencers now that don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're just looking to sell a product.
I say this all the time. There's a lot of information, but information without understanding is what our new generation is facing. Right? They have access to everything. Right? But they don't know it. Like, they don't know the difference of what, if it's real or what really doesn't work.
No, it's misinformation. And then you're getting some guy that looks... maybe he's jacked, he's all ripped up. You don't know if he's using anabolics or not, if he's using, thyroid medication or whatever he's doing. And he's saying, buy this vitamin, buy these food sources.
And you look like this.
And you'll look like me,
right.
And people are desperate, so they want that easy thing, so they buy it. And they sell like crazy.
What did P.T. Barnum say? Sucker born every minute?
So genetic jackhammer.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about your old show, Bodyguard Fitness.
Wow.
What happened to that show?
Back.
I mean, no, because you were like an innovator. You're on my show today, but you had a show before anybody else had a show, before people had access. You used to edit your own shit.
I did.
Like everything.
That was the first reality show that was ever on TV, I think.
Especially in the Bronx. Especially in the Bronx.
And fitness oriented. And that just kind
We're going to look for a snip. We're going to look for a snip and we're going to incorporate it into this show eventually. God. All right, guys, we're going to get some footage. Guys, you hear me? All right, good. And we're going to incorporate it in. You know what I'm saying? It's the fourth dimension out there.
Old school, brother.
Yeah. So, but you were into videography at one point.
I was.
Right.
And really the show just came about because I was working at BronxNet at the time.
Right.
And I had learned a couple of things on how to shoot and how to edit. A very basic knowledge, just a foundation.
Basic knowledge then, but light years against anybody else that didn't know shit. Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to utilize my skills in something that I was passionate about.
Right.
So, hence, Bodyguard Fitness was born, and it slowly evolved into something totally out of control. But
into like WrestleMania.
Into what we called, what Butch had coined, fitness entertainment.
Okay.
So it went from exclusively a fitness show to a fitness entertainment show.
Okay.
With characters.
Nothing wrong with that.
And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I look back on it fondly. I mean, you were on it for a while.
Yeah, I had a
Butch
few shows.
was a big part of it. And I can't believe how much time has gone. I think my first show aired in May of 1996.
Wow.
What year is it now?
A couple of years later.
Wow.
Listen, just yesterday, one of our clients, Sasha's mom, Michelle, was telling me how she used to watch that throughout the week, and she couldn't wait for it to come back on. People still talk about it.
That's great. That's great.
About 10 years ago, I was in 718.
Another story?
Speaking of Arnold, right?
Right. Shout out to Mad Dog, rest in peace.
So I'm at the bar, and there's this pretty girl who's kind of
looking at you,
out,
looking at you,
oh boy,
because you're genetic jackhammer. Yeah,
it's my lucky
it's
day.
your aura.
So I guess this was like 2010ish, and she comes over and she introduces herself and she says, you used to do Bodyguard Fitness, right? And I go, yeah. And I could tell she was a little younger.
Right.
I go, yes. And she goes, my mother used to love that show. I was like, oh, okay.
Can I get an autograph from my mom?
Like, thanks.
I remember the good story that I had was one time probably about 5-6 years ago. You know, I was in Manhattan, I had an appointment there, so I'm walking in the street to go get my car. And, you know, about, 50 yards, maybe 60 yards away from me, these two guys come around the corner and they go, oh my God, look who it is.
And you're looking behind you.
So I look to the side of me.
Yeah, you're like, who is it?
And Sigourney Weaver is walking there. I'm like, oh my
shit,
goodness.
Sigourney, yeah.
It's, I look and it says Sigourney Weaver. With that, they go, look, it's Butch from Bodyguard Fitness. I was
Totally
like, oh.
ignoring her.
So she looks at me, I look at her, and I'm like, And she shakes her head and walks away.
The stars are out at night, baby.
Totally confused, They walk, oh my God. I'm like, guys, do you know who that was?
Right.
That's Sigourney Weaver.
Aliens,
They were like, who?
Lieutenant Ripley.
Get that out of here.
They're like, yo, Butch, how's Nydia? So, it was a small show, local show. Derek did a great job, but man, it really gained a lot of popularity, and people talk about it to this day.
Yeah, you got your fanatics. Like it's there's a like you build a following and you build people that they see something, it resonates with them, and I feel that it was just it was great because it showed people from where we come from just doing regular shit, like, and not just stereotypical shit, like working out. Like back in the day, like if working out is seen, we're gonna segue into that. If fitness is seen right now almost as an arduous task, because if you talk to the wrong people, they're just like, oh, it's too much. Okay, try being sick. But back then was even worse, right? Because you went to the gym or you looked a certain way, and they're like, you're a freak, or you're like the culture was totally not mainstream. So have you seen it evolve is the question. I mean, I know it's more mainstream because people now don't want to be sick.
Right. I think it's changed a lot more. That it's more evolved into the point where people are more focused on being healthy than just a whole appearance thing.
Right. Okay.
Appearance is still the number one reason why somebody walks into the gym. Right. People walk into the gym just to lose the weight, to look and feel better, that kind of thing. Right. But they also know that your quality of life depends on what you put into it now. Right. Because we do live a lot longer than we used to live. Now if you even retire at 72, you're good to 85, maybe 90. Right. So what kind of quality of life are you going to lead? So like an investment, you have to put the time and effort in now. Right. Not when you're 90.
Right. Yeah, that's a little too late then.
It's too late then at that point. So. We've seen a lot of that, but also the work ethic is a little bit lower. They want to do it a lot easier. They want
What's
to do
the shortcut? What's the shortcut?
Right.
Yeah. How do we do this faster? Yeah.
But the problem that I see with a lot of young women right now, they're just looking to get surgeries right away. Yeah. And if they don't have the fitness lifestyle built into them, after the surgery is done, they're going to be in a lot of trouble because they're going to put the weight back on. Yeah. The bodies, if they had, butt implants or
and if they remove fat from certain areas, they don't understand there's other fat in other areas that's going to just make you look weirder, right?
It just looks, they look like cartoon characters.
Dysmorphia.
Right. And it's horrible. It's horrible. They don't realize that, it's almost mandatory now to have some kind of a fitness lifestyle. And past COVID and all that, we knew the people who are healthier had a better chance getting through it.
Yeah, I don't want to say this, but I have to. I remember a friend of mine who had somebody who was in the hospital during COVID, un-COVID related, but he was like, yo, everybody that's talking about dying is severely overweight, or just you could tell they're not taking care of themselves. Like they were on the margin before COVID, so COVID just pushed them right over.
Right.
I'll tell you an interesting statistic, which shocked me when I found out more people die in this country from obesity than they do from starvation.
Makes sense. Right.
I mean, that's amazing to me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You got just in this country, not in other countries.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So when you look at the abundance that we have and the choices we have, and everybody thinks they can eat and drink and not put the time and effort into a gym or some kind of fitness lifestyle. It's really detrimental to the health long term.
Yeah, I remember going to a basketball event my son was at. He was playing in I want to say Pennsylvania. So we go to I think it was an IHOP, and I'm sitting there at the IHOP, and I look around, and I'm not judging, but everybody there shouldn't have been there. Like even me, I was there because we were on a trip and all that. I don't go there like that, but everybody there, I'm like, yo, this is wow. This is like if I could take a camera and just be like, yo, this is crazy. I didn't know I was in America at that moment. Like for a second, I was like, It's crazy. I'm looking around. My wife's looking at me. I'm like, yo, this is wild. But it's when you're aware, you have the consciousness and the education, right, to understand these things, and then you see it, and then it's glaring at you, and you know.
Listen, if you walk into a restaurant and everybody sitting around is obese,
yeah,
you should walk out.
Well, I ate my pancakes and I left.
You should walk out. At the end of the day, you know, that's God telling you, like, listen,
yeah,
you know, look around you. Do you want to be like these people?
That was bad.
You know, so it goes back to the same old adage, you know, the 5 people that you surround yourself with is who you're going to be.
Absolutely,
so that goes with fitness too.
Yeah,
the 5 people that are around you are jacked. You're gonna want to be jacked.
You got
it.
You can't be the weakest link, right? That's the truth. Right. You don't want to be the weakest link.
Exactly.
So Omar, how is now that you're not a kid anymore, since we met you when you were
I'm a man now.
Yes, you're a grown man now. How has your fitness journey evolved? Clearly, lifting like you were before.
Fitness, it just got weird. So I did the bodybuilding thing for a while, and then I got immersed at like 99, 2000. I got really immersed with the business. My business was just like, you know, like I had opened a store, and you know, you focus on that because that's like if it doesn't succeed, you don't succeed. Like you become an image of your business. Like your business is like an extension of you. So I forgot about that for a while. Then I would go back, but you know, like passively. And from 99 to 2004. I probably said I went from, let's just say 220 to like 280, 290. I gained a lot of weight.
Wow.
Right? Because you're just chilling. I had a liquor store and a nightclub. So the 2 vice places, right?
Both.
So I'm doing that. Then I get into banking. I'm still going to the gym kind of like, you know, kind of. And then my wife wants to try out CrossFit. So she gets us a Groupon. I go, I don't know what the hell, you know, it is. And they just have us run around the block. And as I stopped halfway down the block
and walked back,
I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh, this got to stop, man. Right. This got to stop. So I started doing that for a while. I dropped back down to like, I would say 230s. And then in 2017, I had a life event. I'm not going to go into too much, but somebody very close to me got sick. So I kind of, you know, like, again, going back to like, yo, I got to save this person. I got to do this. And so I gained weight again. 2020, I started doing the video stuff a lot heavier in 2019 when COVID kind of hit. And then I started looking at, and this is a real reflection moment for me.
Start watching Bodyguard Fitness.
No. So I'm like, yo, I don't like the way that shirt looks. It makes me look. Oh, I don't like the what do you call it? The material. It's making me look fat. I'm like, then I looked at myself, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? I was like, it's not the shirt. It's you. Mm-hmm. So then I got back on it, and I'm now in my 230s, and my goal is 222.
Yeah.
And then see what that looks like and kind of build from there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good way for you, for your height.
Yeah, I think so. But just like you're saying, like as we get older, being lighter is better for me, I feel. I walk around with a weight, I do like a 2-mile walk after every workout with a weighted vest of 31 pounds to remind me of what I lost.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like, damn, motherfucker. You heavy as much. You're going up the hill, you're like, yo, I was carrying this
every day,
right? And your joints and your out, you know, like. But again, it goes back to like I was saying, you got to be accountable, which I'm sure you guys are in the fitness industry, so you can only do so much, right? Be like, hey man, do push-ups, do this, do that. When your client leaves you, because they're only there with you for an hour or two, it's on them. And you know, the truth of the matter is, you could tell, right? If it's been 6 weeks and you're pounding that person to dust every day, and they're recovering, but they're not changing, that's what they're putting in their body. And that becomes like, you know, how do you nicely approach that as trainers?
Sometimes it depends on the connection you have with the person.
Right.
So, you know, a lot of times I'll tell somebody, you know, Omar, can I be totally honest with you? Can I be totally abrupt? You must be eating like shit, you know, because we are training so hard and we're doing that, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like, I told Derek, I think I've told you before, we're not in the fitness industry. We're in the accountability industry.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out a way to keep you accountable.
Right.
So like we have a turkey challenge coming up soon, and we call it the turkey challenge because it ends on Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But one of the things that we do that is weigh everybody every Monday morning.
Well, break that up, right? What is it? Is it a challenge for weight loss?
It's a 12-week weight loss challenge or a fat loss challenge. We're looking to lose as much fat as we can.
Okay.
The winners, well, there's cash prizes, $1,000 and so on. Okay. So there's a little bit of an incentive,
right.
You know, to win. And plus, you know, I go to the local businesses in the area and they donate things for the winners as well. So the finale is a 2-hour boot camp that we have, and usually in a high school, and on Thanksgiving morning.
Okay.
And that's when we present the winners and
nice.
all that kind of stuff. But in the interim, what we do is every Monday you get weighed in.
Right.
If you miss a weigh-in, it's $20.
Okay.
If you gain a pound, it's $2 per pound.
Oh, okay.
So, and we don't want to collect any extra money, but this is one way to keep people accountable.
Yeah.
Because
And
people value
is
that.
the weigh in front of everybody? Like,
No, that one thing we hide the number
Yeah,
from everybody.
yeah.
What we do is we do put up a chart and we put a plus and minus next to your name.
okay.
So you're accountable that way. So everybody will see that you either gained or
Right.
you stay the same, or if you lost some weight. The numbers, they don't know what the numbers are.
Right, okay,
Because
gotcha.
for
Yeah,
some people
people
it's a little
sensitive
bit
about that.
a little
Yeah.
sensitive.
They get competitive, right, Butch?
Oh my! The best one I ever had. I don't know if I ever told you. Is from Aaron. This is one of the first turkey challenges we ever had.
Okay.
He's competing with another guy really tight. They're going back and forth, and I, of course, I bust his chops like Aaron. This guy's gonna blow you away.
Right, yeah.
He says, "Don't worry, I got something for him." I was like, "What's going on?" So I forget the guy's name. It's Jonathan or something. So Monday he comes up. He goes, "Do you know what happened? What happened?"
Who? Aaron or Jonathan?
Jonathan. He says, "Somebody delivered pizza to my house." Aaron called a pizza place and delivered pizza to him because he knew we love pizza.
Awesome.
And he says, that's what he told me. I couldn't turn it down. I'd eat it. I put on weight. Oh my God. And Aaron said, I told you. I was like,
Sinister.
I was like, wow, what a strategy.
Yeah, man, it's games,
what
man.
a strategy, you know? But hey, listen, the winner, it's $1,000.
Yeah.
You know
And
what
bragging
I mean?
rights.
Right, exactly.
I'm
exactly.
the champ.
So we have, that's what we try to do with our clients. I think we've been the most successful at that because we come up with different accountability issues that we hope to keep somebody accountable. And the truth, some people don't like us for it.
Really?
And some people,
But they stay.
Some people do and some people don't. They don't like it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if I have you as a private client of mine and you're not losing weight, you're wasting money and you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
So I've had people, Butch, please don't get rid of me. I haven't lost the weight. And I'm like, I don't want to get rid of you. But
What's going on?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's like if I came to you every single day about purchasing something and I never do.
Yeah.
At one point you're going to say, hey,
Call me when you're
shit will
ready.
get off the pot. Let's go.
Yeah, call me when you're ready. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
do it at that point. So I'm kind of in the same boat, So that's the back and forth. Sometimes we go between, do we just continue getting paid for this membership?
Yeah.
Or are we brutally honest with this client? So it depends on the rapport that we have with each individual person.
Right.
Some people just come in and come out. They want to do their own thing.
Okay.
And that's perfectly fine.
Oh, you offer that too, like almost like an open gym?
We offer a boot camp. There's no
Okay.
open gym,
Okay.
We tried it once. It was horrible. It didn't work well, you know? So no, they come in. There's specific sessions at certain times. They're just as long. We do structure it. So Monday's upper body. We do cardio and core for everything.
Okay.
So Monday's upper body. Tuesday's lower body. Again, cardio and core. And then Wednesday, we specifically work on cardio and core all day.
Okay.
Then we repeat the process. And then Saturday is kind of like overall body.
Okay.
This way, whatever you take, at least by the end of the week, you can recuperate, and keep working. Because, recuperation is really important.
It's key. Yeah.
I tell our clients, exercise is king, nutrition is queen, but recovery rules the court.
Okay.
Which is really important. You could train really hard and do well. I could train hard, but I have to give myself enough time to recover.
You could break yourself down, but you gotta let your body
you got to be smart about it. That's why in my book I say train hard, but train smart. I hate that old saying, no pain, no gain.
Yeah, no brain.
Because gains with no brain.
I remember that. You used to say that back when I was a kid. Yeah,
right. So,
Absolutely.
but that's so true. I mean, yes, train really hard. I remember I used to bleed through my skin when I trained.
Oh man!
I
If we have videos of those training sessions,
Right, they were intense.
Fucking
If
classic
only.
shit.
If only.
Yeah, we had all that crazy stuff back then, you know. But there's still got to be some sensibility that goes with that, Especially now, you're going to live longer, you want to be healthier, and there's a lot more life outside the gym.
Yeah.
I tell people, if you want to live in the gym, I'm not your guy.
Right.
We have, one of the slogans that we use is get twice the results in half the time.
Okay.
Come in, get your stuff done, go out and enjoy your life.
Go hang out.
And do what you spend time with your family. But if you're going to come in and you want to spend 2-3 hours in the gym, which is fine, because some guys just want to get out of the house, right?
Right.
Instead of
We
staying
won't
home.
name those people.
Yeah, we won't name the guys.
Oh, yes, we will.
But, and that's fine, but that's not what we do.
Right.
You know, we come in, our boot camps are 30 minutes. We have 2 that are 45 minutes.
Okay.
But the rest are all 30 minutes. We get you in and get you out, and that's all you really need. You come anywhere from 3 to 5 times a week, you'll get in great shape if you eat sensibly.
Right.
The other thing we tell our clients, the big thing that I preach, is the 80-20 rule. Which 80% of the time, be disciplined.
Right.
Be smart. Eat really well.
Right.
Then 20% you can get to enjoy yourself.
Okay.
You know, but don't flip it.
Don't enjoy yourself all the time.
Yeah,
Right.
and then a cheat meal, it doesn't mean a cheat day.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you're going to be, eating really bad food all day. Go out, have a nice dinner. Sure, have a few drinks. Life's about that.
Yeah, get back to it then.
And then, the other thing is I tell a lot of my clients, don't worry about this extra 5 or 10 pounds you need to lose. That's the celebration with a loved one, a night out with your spouse, that's a birthday you might, share with somebody.
Right.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, because to get a 6-pack and to be super lean,
You know how much work it takes?
And sacrifice.
Yeah.
For most people.
Yeah.
You got the genetic
it's
jackhammers out there.
Like Derek. Like,
That's right.
Shout out Derek.
Right?
Take your shirt off, Derek.
Please, not now. Yeah. He'll drive home like that, and he's my ride. So, but yeah, so, it just, I wouldn't be obsessed. You want to be healthy. I'm not saying being 50 pounds overweight.
Right.
But those extra 5 or 10 pounds, relax.
And if you want to get a summer body and peak, that's okay too, because that's a goal.
Right.
But to sustain it takes a little
Well, this
work.
is what comes down for the turkey challenge, because it ends on Thanksgiving,
Right.
which after that we know, Christmas
Everybody's gonna
comes,
eat.
New Year's comes, all these holidays, and that's when we gain more weight.
Right.
So we try to get everybody in their peak condition
Right.
before the holidays hit.
Right.
And at that point you've also learned a lot about nutrition.
Right.
You learned a lot about
So
exercise.
you educate them on nutrition
Oh,
as
we
well?
have 4 fitness workshops throughout the
okay.
challenge. So
Okay.
every 3 to 4 weeks, we bring everybody in
Okay.
and we do another workshop.
All right,
So
cool.
it's about, developing good habits
Right.
and educating you so you know how to make the right choices. Then the
Mm-hmm.
rest, like you said, once you're gone, it's really up to you.
Yeah, it's on you.
Even though I followed a few clients.
Did you?
Yeah, I followed a few clients and I busted them, and I've gone into restaurants, don't feed this person, I got into one pizza shop and said, don't you ever sell her a slice of pizza again.
Again.
And, but listen, in reality, you can't do that with everybody.
No, absolutely. And, because some people, it's like some people, they respond well to negative reinforcement, right? Like being tough on them. Other people, you have to find the way and be nice about it.
That's the other, Derek is really good with that. He has the patience.
With the nice?
Yeah, he's the nice
You're the nice guy,
He's
Derek?
the nice guy.
Yeah,
Really?
definitely. I have a gentler approach.
Okay.
Still with having the accountability and making them say, okay, I know he's thinking about this, and I know I have to get my act together. And again, what Butch just mentioned, you have to use a different tool for a different person, because everybody responds to something different.
Different reinforcement.
Some people want a hammer over their head.
Yeah.
You can't do that to everybody.
Right.
Some people need a little softer touch,
Mm-hmm.
a little more guidance, and just gently pulling them towards where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's difficult to gauge that initially.
So how
because
do you discover that?
again, it just over time,
Okay.
you get to know someone and kind of see what their triggers are. But that takes time. It won't happen overnight.
Do you process that? Like, do you have like certain set of questions you ask clients, like to kind of see what their reaction are, to kind of say, okay, this is this type of personality, that type of personality?
Not so much.
No.
I think it's just more how they are, and just in basic conversation. You can kind of get a gauge of a person just by listening to what they're saying, how they're saying it, their tone, and then just your own feeling them out and how they respond to what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. Right. And are they following? If they're following right from get, okay, we're off to the races, all good. But if they're hitting a pothole every 2 weeks or so, then say, okay, I need a different
Give me an
tool
example
now.
of a pothole.
Well, someone who will miss their training.
They don't show up.
They won't show up.
Right.
Or they'll come late and start to consistently come late. And
What's your
almost-
policy with that? After 15 minutes or something? Because I mean, the training sessions are what, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah, they're based on 30 minutes. So you may have, if I have someone at 9 and they come up at 8:40, okay, it's 20 minutes. That's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's not on me. That's on you.
Yeah.
So fortunately, that doesn't happen too often.
Okay.
But you will get that, and then it gets to a point where you're gonna have to have a conversation. Do you really want to do this because
Right.
it seems like we're both wasting each other's time.
Right.
We don't want to just take your money. That's
Right.
not what we're about.
Right.
So, every once in a while, you have to have a difficult conversation.
Do you find people have a lot of excuses lately?
Lately,
Like I'll give you an example. Like there's a lot of self-talk, right? I mean, we're all in our own heads. I talk to myself all the fucking time. And recently I was like, I want to build a multi-million-dollar business. I want to do this. I want to do, and I got to lose weight. And it's so much. This is me talking to myself. And I was like, wow, you bitch. I was like, I can't believe you just said that. I was like, yeah, motherfucker, you're going to do this. And then I wrote down how I'm going to do it and what I have to prioritize. And then I did it. But that takes a special type of crazy. I'm just going to use that term because I don't know. I don't want to say discipline because,
well, in maturity, I mean,
I guess, or self-awareness, right? Yeah.
Well, a lot of times, like I know when I speak to a client and I'm trying to gauge if they're staying on a good diet, I'll just ask them, like, how was your weekend? What did you do? And I had a great weekend.
I was out all night.
I went to the party. I went here. I went out to dinner.
After
and I was like, oh my God, really? You know what I mean? So at one point you look at them and say, so you drank, you had dessert, you had appetizers, you had,
You drank again.
How are we going to lose weight,
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying that you can't go out, but you got to, at one point, listen, it depends on what you want more.
The big thing is also, like, if you have a goal, right? Like I found that if you don't have like a certain goal, it's kind of like, I'll get to it.
It's got to be time sensitive. That's what works. That's why the turkey challenge works. It's now or never.
Parkinson's law, right? You give yourself enough time.
Right.
Your job will eat up the whole time.
But the thing with fitness is, though, that the thing that empowers you, like you want to get a multi-million-dollar business, then, if I were to give you any kind of advice, I said, then work on you first. Take care of you so you're physically fit, you have more energy.
So more output, right.
So you feel great. And if you feel great, you do great.
Right.
If you don't feel good, if you wake up and you're like lethargic and you can't even get to a book, you can't get to anything else, it's going to be hard for you to build that business.
Yeah, my thought process is that if I'm in the best shape, I can do more, right?
Exactly.
I can do more. So like
100%.
if Joe Schmo does 40 hours a week and I have to do 80 on a regular, I got to be in shape for that. It's like conditioning, right? Like you got to be ready to go. So like that's kind of how I trick myself to say, hey man, this is the way. This is the only way.
And the sad part, listen, the real sad part is that honestly, people treat you different when you're in shape.
Yeah, there's a whole different. That's a great conversation. Because it shows a discipline, right? You walk in, you have broad shoulder. Oh, who's this guy? Like all of a sudden, somebody's like, oh, this guy's a serious dude, right? Like he's a serious dude. Why? Look at him.
You get respect.
Yeah, and you're not even saying anything.
Bat, you didn't say a word.
I used to think, it's the big guy now. When you're walking down the street and the guy looks at you, goes, and you keep going. You don't know who he is, right?
Yeah.
But he gave you that big nod because you're both walking down, whatever it might be. But I think, people respect you more. And unfortunately today, that's another issue where now, they say it's fat shaming. If you tell somebody they're overweight, if you tell somebody, and it has nothing really to do that. It's about what about your health? We're not talking about beauty. We're not talking about attraction. We're talking about your health. If you're have 40, 50 pounds of extra weight on you, that's unhealthy.
That shit is heavy.
Right.
I carry the vest on me. You see my Instagram story, 31 pounds. I'm like, yo, this is fucking horrible. And I just do it to remind myself. And maybe it's that little crazy I have, but this just keep myself reminded, hey, this is what you're doing it for.
Crazy is good.
Yeah.
And you don't want
because you could channel it to certain things.
Right. As long as you can channel it, like you said. Yeah.
Obsession to me is not a bad thing. If you channel it to what you want and it's a positive outcome. You want to make more money, you want to be better in business, you want to be healthier, you want to have whatever it might be. To become a millionaire, you got to be smart, right? You got to be you have to learn new skills. So what's wrong with that?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, learn to move with the times as times change because they're always changing. But also, like, I have kids. My kids are 26, 21, 18.
Can't believe you
What did you just say?
Yeah, I just said that. 26, 21, 18, and they're not the alpha male of the house. I am. And that's another piece that keeps me pushing because, like, you can't take your old man. I'll smack you. You want to go right now? They're like, oh, chill, you bugging out. But that's another part that keeps me kind of like on my toes because I'm not ready to go into the night. One day I'll, look, when I know it's mine, I'll be like, all right, man, you guys good. But not yet.
Not yet. We got lots more to do, Omar.
Not yet.
We got lots more to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So back to the original question, do you think the people today, I think there's a lot more, they want to feel good about it, and they're more about their feelings, you know?
Feel good about what they're doing?
What they're, you know, getting in shape. Like,
Okay,
you know, is it
okay,
easier
right.
or is it harder than it was, you know, 20, 30 years ago?
Yeah.
I think today people just want to feel a lot better about it, you know, and they want to be, it's okay if I don't lose the weight. It's okay. You know, I think there needs to be more of a sense of urgency.
I think the attitude has changed recently. Well, not recently, like over the last couple of decades, and I'll use the term softer. I don't want to say that we've grown in terms of a society of being, you know, we're wiser, right? We're more...
Everybody wants everything fast. They want to swipe an app and get it.
But, you know, like everybody's more tolerant. And I think with the tolerance, right, like inclusion, that's a big word. Everybody uses that, you know, equal rights, I don't even want to get into the whole thing with the gender identification, all that stuff like that. And I understand all that, but I also understand if you look at a basic truth, if you can't run around the block without stopping, like when I woke up at whatever that was, then you have to be accountable. Like, yo, man, I want to be happy, but I want to kind of live a little longer than, you know, like my predecessors. Like, Hispanics, diabetes, blacks, high blood pressure. Like, there's certain diseases that run within our cultures for a reason. And just look at the menu, right? You just look at what they eat all day. It's very simple, but for me to break it down is one thing, but for you to live there and then try to break that cycle with your family, you know what I'm saying? Like, my mother-in-law's in town and she's making everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm being nice. I'm eating, you know, like a little bit, and, you know, just so I don't want, you know, because the old school, they're like, eat.
You don't want to be rude.
You're like, yeah, okay, I got you. But I'm like,
that's your 20%.
but if I ate like that every day,
Yeah,
I'd be over 300. And I'm a big dude. I'm 6'2", 6'3", so I could carry it and legitimize it, because a lot of guys are, but I'm big. Bro, you're not that big. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've had friends of mine like, yo, dude, you're 350. You're bugging out. Stop. Oh, I don't feel good. I wouldn't feel good either.
Yeah,
That's a lot of pressure on your joints and on your heart and everything else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've had friends that have passed away due to that, you know, due to that. I mean, whether it's genetic or not, I'm not judging him. You know, he's passed away, but he carried a lot of weight for a long time.
Are we talking about Big Val?
Big Val, rest in peace. Val Puccio. Yeah.
Which is old training partner.
He was one of the many training partners, one of the greatest training partners I had. He was motivating and all that, but unfortunately, he was always a big guy. He was the freak, you know what I mean? Right. And I mean that by, he could do things, you look at him, he was, at the time, we got him down to him. 360 was the lowest we ever got him down to.
360. Okay.
360, that was the lowest. But he kind of hovered around 450.
Okay.
That's when he kind of hovered around there. And it was amazing how he could move. It was amazing how much speed and stamina he had, and the intensity he would bring. He would do everything that I would do.
Right.
You know, there was no difference, you know. So, you know, it was pretty impressive. So when you look at the guy like that, you say, holy cow. But the problem is that he kept on gaining weight, and eventually...
And as you get older, it gets harder.
You know, he had come to me one time and said, listen, I really need help losing some weight. And I said, well, we can't, you know, he wanted to do the traditional old bodybuilding routines that we used to do, or powerlifting. I'm like, Val, we can't train like that.
That was
anymore.
20 years ago, bro.
Yeah. And the concern isn't about how much we lift.
Right.
The concern is how we lift it, you know, and build our, you know, cardiovascular system and keep things moving and attack the body in different angles. So
you give him the science of it.
Right. Well, you know, it's not what he needed. You know, it's not what he needed. And he agreed. But unfortunately, shortly after that, he did pass. You know, unfortunately, you know, it was a little bit too late at that point. You know? And, you know, that's what you hope everybody, you know, turns it around. That's why it's so important to get around the right people.
Yeah. The crazy part is usually people want to turn it around when they get like some sort of life event, like something's warning you.
You need
right?
that. You need something to happen, you know. You know, like Donna Torres. I remember, you know, you asked me about Donna before the podcast started.
Hi, Donna.
Hey, Donna. And one of the most successful people that I've known. You know, at one point she was making tremendous amount, 25,000, 30,000 per week. You know, and which was really well at that time. You know, and exponentially she just made more and more. So I remember asking her at one point, you know, what made you want to become, you know, so successful or financially successful?
You? Yeah.
You know, and she said she was married at one point, and she said she asked her husband for some money.
Oh boy.
She asked him like $100 or something like that. She wanted to get something, and he told her what for.
Permission.
And then the thing was, when you look at Donna's face, and she was like, I never was going to ask him again. What's
your why?
And she kept her promise, right? She never did that. You know, and I know, there's similar stories like that. But the impressive thing was that after that, they got divorced, and she was happy to pay him alimony.
Oh my God.
She said, I would make him come to the office every month
to pick up his check.
Pick up his check. And I look at him here, you live on my dime.
You fucking loser.
I was like, oh my. And she would get it to him, like, you fucking piece of shit.
You
Take that
loser.
money, go ahead, you know.
You need me to cash it for you? You have a bank account? Yeah.
So she said she thoroughly enjoyed it. She goes, it was nothing to her.
Yeah.
It was nothing to her.
Like you said, using crazy is good. That's a form of crazy, Donna. I'm sorry. But it's not a bad thing.
No,
whatever motivates you, whatever gets you over it.
Obsession is a good thing. And people who put obsession down
properly focused.
Are people are not living this kind of life.
Right.
They don't want to live this kind of life.
Yeah.
You want something, listen, you want to get in the best shape of your life, you got to be focused. You got to be obsessed with that. Everything matters.
And the sacrifices got to be okay. You can't. They can't be a burden. You got to be like, yo, I get to do this shit. Fuck it.
But sometimes you got to say, it's hard. Good. This is difficult. Good.
Yeah.
Then you're going to
because everybody would look like this, right? There you go.
It's not worth it.
Right.
If it's easy, and everybody be in shape, but it's not easy. So you got to put some time and effort into it. And it takes a bit of time. You're not gonna, you're going to go to the gym, run home, and be in shape.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you're not even gonna see anything for a while. You know? So you got to be consistent. To see a big change, at least 2 to 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. You can change
your life. And then and like you said, most of the work is done outside the gym. Right. And that's the people, like, they'll go to you for guidance, for proper mechanics, maybe coaching, maybe macronutrient training, for them to understand what the fuck they're putting in their mouths. Right. But then, he's like, all right, see you later. And then you got the rest of it.
I don't know if I subscribe to nutrition is 80% and exercise. I think everything is equally as important. Because I know for me and for a lot of other of my clients, is like, if you're training really hard, you tend to eat better.
Yeah, because
if you don't train hard, you're not going to eat good.
Because holistically, because you're like, oh, what I work so hard for, like I have to feed my muscles. Like you start talking to yourself like you're a machine.
Absolutely. I paid this price. I'm going to throw it away by eating a hot dog or something like that, right? Yeah. So you start training, harder. All right, I'm going to eat better. You start eating better. I'm going to sleep better. I sleep better, then you're going to work better. You're going to go to your work, you're going to be early, you're going to be there. And if you have a schedule, you're like, okay, I only have so much time for this, I got so much time for that, and you got to go.
And all of a sudden, you're efficient.
All right. And then all of a sudden, like they say, if you want something done, give it to a busy person.
Right.
Now you're getting a lot more done than you did before because you got everything scheduled and you know your time. Right. For those people like, yeah, I'll do it later. That's why not for everybody, but a lot of home equipment doesn't work because it's always there.
Yeah.
Right? It happens to us, right? In the gym. Sure. We're going to train later. After the next 2 clients.
I'm tired.
And then after a while, you never train because it's there for us all the time.
You got to make that time for you.
You got to schedule it in and say, okay, this is the time that I'm training and nothing's going to stop me.
Yeah. You have to. So, you have to. But the fact that that is really big because we get caught up. Like I train at 4:35 in the morning. Why? Because my job is very engulfing. Like, I run different people. So like, once 8:30 comes around, you start seeing the emails. It's a wrap. You get obsessive, like, and you're like, "Oh, I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that." You
just can't stop. Okay, everybody hold.
Yeah,
and then you run out.
Let me get this 20 in.
Right. Yeah, can't do that. No, not at all. Not at all. So it's hard.
It's good you have that discipline, Omar. You're getting up.
Well, I mean, I do have the discipline. I also have my wife who also helps me.
That's helpful
with that.
When you have that support,
she weighs my food, bro. She's great. She's back. Shout out to Maggie. I love you. No, because that's so. It gets easy to start saying, "Oh, I'm too busy." And then you're like, "Oh, eyeball it." But she accountability coach. She's like, oh, "What are those macros?" I'm like, "Well, hold on, let me get my weight scale out." And but when I'm home, when I'm working from the house, everything's weighed. Everything, like I know exactly what's going in, what's going out.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
That's great. And that's been tremendous in terms of helping me get there much faster.
Unfortunately,
not everybody has that.
Not everyone.
You should get a
that.
girl like that. All right, guys.
I mean, how many times Butch and I come across a guy or a girl and who wanting to,
but their spouse is not,
and they're just not.
I've seen that. I've seen that a lot, man.
And in fact, they will do everything to discourage,
to fracture it. Yeah, because it's gonna make their life a little harder. Right? It's gonna be inconvenient. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they don't want to feel guilty about eating their ice cream in front of you.
Yes.
And they see you doing something they can't do.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to do it right now. So yeah, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. But
somehow or another, we get it going anyway, no matter what.
Do you feel like couples come in a lot?
We actually push away from that.
Yeah.
We don't like couples coming in simply because, oh, she looked at you or he looked at her or why you talking to her.
That stuff. Okay.
You know,
okay,
so
I get you,
we
I get
tell
you,
a lot
I
of
get you.
people, like, you know, if I have a girl comes in and said, you know, I think I'm going to bring my husband. I'm like, this is your place.
Right.
This is where you come to get away from your kids, from your family, and just train.
Right.
And nothing's going to bother you from
Right.
there.
You shouldn't, no
But
distractions.
now if you bring your spouse in, and now your spouse, well, why was that person talking to you for so long?
Oh my God.
Oh, well, you handed them the dumbbells? Why did you do that? Oh, you know, it's like that joke on
That's that high school shit, bro.
Right, but that's
Never
what
goes
happens.
away.
It's like, oh, I saw you put 10 emojis on her back. You gave
Why
her,
you
you know,
following
5
her?
birthday emojis. You know,
Oh my
You know, this
God.
bitch must be real.
Wow.
You know, but we've had that.
Right.
Yeah.
We've had
we
that. You know,
legitimately
there's a
have.
few couples that come and they're really good with each other and they have a great relationship. They got to be a sound relationship.
Solid.
Yeah,
Solid. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Got to be
If-
solid. Solid foundations.
Yeah, absolutely. But if one is a little, you know, jealous or
Little
you know,
off.
that has that macho bullshit in them,
Yeah.
and you know, and forget it. It's just gonna cause a lot of problems. Then we're gonna wind up losing both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because
yeah,
now I
absolutely.
don't want you to go back to the gym at all. So, you know, if they come together at the same time and they're cool, usually it works out okay.
Yeah.
But if one comes and they get comfortable with everybody,
Yeah.
then they bring the second one. And
Feels
these-
like an outlier. Yeah.
and our
outsider.
gym really is. I mean, it might sound cliche to say, but we really do have a family there. Everybody comes in, they hug each other, kiss each other,
Right.
help each other. Oh, I'm coming late. Hook my spot up. And they put their dumbbells down.
Right.
You know, oh, I saw this. I brought this for you guys. You know,
Oh, that's nice, man. You
So-
build a community.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a really nice community. So if all of a sudden you have that, and then you bring that spouse in that hasn't been around that, and they look at what's going on. Like,
It's too intimate.
Right.
This is not just working
It's
out.
not-
You guys
it-
are friends.
you know,
Yeah,
and
all
it,
that
it-
insecurity
you
comes
get
up.
that because we want that so they can come in and they can just give it 100% and not feel, oh, I look stupid doing this
Being judged.
exercise.
Yeah,
or I feel
absolutely.
this, you know.
Yeah.
So they feel like at ease and they can do whatever they can, and they got everyone, even besides the coaches, backing them up.
Right, cheering
You know,
for them.
all the other clients are backing them up, helping them, and all that, and that's what makes our space a little bit special.
I think that's the key to a great facility. Community.
Absolutely.
Community. You got to have a community that backs each other, and
Mm-hmm.
it all starts from you guys. You guys have to you nurture that because
Mm-hmm.
you know they're only gonna see you. You guys are like the fathers of the community, so they have to look to the patriarch to kind of see what's the culture. What are we doing? How do we like I was asking people come in late. You know, after a while, I'm sure you'll be like, listen, man, if you can be 20 minutes late, just don't come, and you know I got to charge you. Sorry.
Right.
Not sorry.
Well, we give them, you know, listen, technically, you know, we give them 1 or 2 warnings.
Right.
Then after that, we start to charge them and say
Yeah.
it's up to you. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
you have to.
Or we lead them, Lisa, maybe boot camp is better off for you than personal training.
Right.
Because you have more options with that. Maybe
Right.
you could try that. You know what I
Right.
mean? But that, in essence, is the problem. You're not getting a good
Workout.
schedule, you know, because you're not keeping your own time limits, you know?
Yeah.
You're not keeping your own promise to yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you have to fix that if you want to go anywhere with this, you know?
What's the wildest request you've had when somebody walks in? I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, I need to lose 100 pounds in 2 weeks. Like, have you heard? Like, what's the craziest request?
I think the one I got was not too
one
recently
that I
ago.
got.
Well, I know because we all had some crazy requests, but this one girl came in and she had to do the police exam.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
For her
She had
job.
failed. She had failed the police exam, you know, twice.
Mm-hmm.
So she only had a certain amount of time. And I said, "Well, when is it?" And she goes, "Next week."
Ugh.
That was, you know. So I
What part of the exam did she fail? The running part?
the running
That's probably
part,
me.
the sit up part. You know what I mean? So she failed like
Epic fail.
Yeah, I was like, and I looked at her and she's like, you know, and I don't like to sweat.
I got 7 days.
You know, she had 9. she had
What
9.
can you do for me?
So I was like, "There's nothing." I said, "Get another job." I told her, "Nothing
I'm
you
gonna
can
give you
do.
some career
You know,
advice.
get you another job." You know, and you know, we gave it a shot. I said, "You want to do it? Let's see how we can improve."
See where we go.
And she failed.
Okay.
She failed. There was nothing we could.
But
really
she put
do.
in 9 hard days.
Yeah, she put in 9 hard, and even that was like torture. Like I had to say, "Listen, if you stop doing this, I will kill you." You know, so you know, and she was a sister of one of my other clients.
Of course.
So I was like, you know, I would tell him, I said, "Listen, I'm going to kill her. And if I can't kill her, I can't
show
hit her.
up.
I'm going to hit you." You know, so we tried everything we could do, but you know, that's just
What about you, D?
unrealistic.
Well, I think I have a client named Bill who's been with me for many years, and he didn't start working out on any level till he was in his early 60s. He retired.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, he retired. He was a lean guy, thin, and over time, he got pretty strong.
Okay.
You know, but of course, you know, you go on YouTube, right? And you look at this and you look at that. So one day, and he's not a gifted athlete. You could always tell someone.
He's a worker.
Yeah, he's someone who's.
He's very special.
Yeah, he is special.
Okay.
God bless him.
Air
But
quotes.
anyway, so he goes, you know, I was watching YouTube, and automatically I know, oh boy, where's this going? He says, I saw someone doing handstand
Push-ups?
push-ups.
Oh, boy.
He says, you think we could try that? I don't think that's a good idea, Bill, and I don't think it really serves you.
The purpose, right.
Specifically.
What utility do you have for that?
Yeah,
Right.
like, where are you going with this? I want you to be able to bike ride, because he bike rides all the time,
Right.
and he likes to walk, take long walks, and now he's 70.
Right.
You know, and he's
He's been with you a decade.
He's been with me about 8 years.
Wow,
Yeah, my
okay.
longest client.
Good for
who
you.
Never stopped.
Okay.
He also goes to the gym by himself, which I thought, as a trainer, was a big win for me.
Yeah,
because he
it's
was always
confidence.
intimidated.
Yeah.
He says, all my life I wanted to go, and I couldn't.
Right.
I would stop myself. Now he can work out on his own and not hurt himself and
That's awesome.
do well.
That's great.
But yeah, every once in a while he'll come up with
Some crazy shit.
"What? Can we try? I don't think so.
You know what? Ask me in 2 weeks.
Hopefully you forget.
And we still get the people that walk in and say, "Oh, I want to compete." Meanwhile, they haven't
Yeah.
even seen a contest. You know, you look at them like, you know, because
Who won? Ronnie Coleman? Yo, bro, wait a minute. It's been 30 years.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know, and more women want to compete than they come up that want to compete. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, you haven't even been on the treadmill yet. You
Right,
know,
right,
or
right.
You haven't done any kind of exercise yet. You haven't seen a competition yet. They're like, I just want to compete.
I'm ready.
I want to look like her. And then you look at the girl and she's jacked. You know, I'm like,
You're like,
Yeah, they come with on
The
their
picture?
phone, the picture. Like, I want to look like her, and you go, whoa.
what do I gotta do? Squat?
yeah, can I just play with those bands over there? Yeah, you know, I ask all my clients, you know, to give me a picture of what they want to look like.
Oh, cool.
You know, so I can gauge, and then I tell them honestly, if you want to look something similar to this is like a high-end athlete, you need to train like that.
Right.
You know, are you willing to do that?
To sacrifice.
You know, because, you know, also nutritionally, you got to, you know, really be on point with your nutrition to feed the body, you know, and sometimes they don't realize what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just, you know, don't know. They're, I don't know, ignorant is a good word, but it's
Yeah.
they don't have the knowledge.
It's absolutely, look.
They
it's
don't have the knowledge,
It's
and they-
absolutely lack of education.
Right. They don't understand what it takes to get to that level. You know, once you start educating them, they're like, oh my goodness. I'm like, yeah, it's a whole nother animal.
How about, do you hear a lot of, I don't hear this anymore in the circles I hang out with, but I used to hear this before back in the day. It's too expensive.
Oh, we still get that. Yeah,
It's too expensive. Just to work out.
I want to hang
Just
out in
do
your
this.
circle.
Yeah. No, but the truth is, you know, is it? Because, you know, then I've broken down like things that have happened to people that I love. And I'm like, yo, it's $250,000 to get them out the hospital. So is it expensive? Like I started going that way. I'm like, look,
Well, it's like, what are you worth?
right.
Do you value yourself? Are you worth $100 a month, 200? What are you worth? I'm only worth, you know, are you going to really go that way?
Right.
You know, you're going to think that way. You know, you'll go out and you'll spend the money on a dinner. You'll buy the shoes. You'll buy the fancy car. You'll buy the beautiful dress that doesn't make you look heavy, you know.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is you're not making an investment in yourself. I tell them this is an investment in yourself. And a lot of times with a lot of fitness is the money is there. And if you start eating right, you'll see you reallocate the funds. Like one of the questions I asked when we're sitting down talking to someone was like, well, how many times do you go to Dunkin' Donuts? How many times do you go to Starbucks? And like, oh, I go, 5 times a week.
Every day.
You know, and I usually take something on the way home. I'm like, so how much do you spend each time? Oh, I spend, $10, $20 a day. All right, and you go 5 times a week. I'm like, so it's 20. That's, you were talking
$100, $400 a month. Yeah,
right.
Easy,
so,
quick math.
So I hear, our membership is $167 a month.
Right.
I'm going to save you money.
And that's too expensive.
You're going to say, but that's too expensive. The problem is that it's not that important to them.
Right.
At the end of the day, when you look at it, and I tell that to them, I say, the problem is getting in shape is not that important to you.
Right.
It just really isn't, And then I stop.
What's the response? What's the response from that?
They look at you and like, no, it's important. Then do it.
Is it?
Then do it. Because
It's
you're
on
no
the
closer to you're no closer to getting in shape than you are right now. And it's truth. And I know that can make a difference. I know I can make a difference. I have the track record. We have the track record. We can make a difference. But you got to start.
Right.
And this whole thing about just showing up, to me, that's bullshit too. Just show up. That's half the battle. No, it's not. You got to show up and work hard. What the fuck are you talking about? Just show up. Show up and sit on the couch? Show up. If you showed up at work and just sat there and looked at the phone, is there anything? No, you got to show up and you got to work.
Yeah.
You got to put your effort in. into it.
Intent and effort. Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and not that you have to do it like crazy as soon as you start, but you got to put some amount of effort to it, and hopefully it escalates as you get in better shape. You can put more time and effort into it.
You got to move with purpose, right? It becomes the
Absolutely.
purpose. I think the greatest thing you said is that, you know, you start asking, well, what's your goal? Let me see your picture. Like, you know, like, because it gives them the purpose, right? Like you have the carrot at the end, you have the end goal. So now this is how we're going to get there, right? So yeah, it's tough, man. A lot of people, you know, I feel like there's two types. There's the people that get it, and then other people that say, I'm gonna. And then there's three types. And then there's the third people like, it's not that important. And
I think there's two people: educated and uneducated.
Well,
and that's what it comes down
well, it's
to.
education, but look, a lot of guys in my industry, real estate and mortgages, they make money. They're fluffy. I'll use that term. They're fluffy. Why? Because they want to hang out at night. Like, you know, like, oh, I closed the deal, I made this money. Let's go have a drink. And that's cool. And that's cool, but that's not every day. And then, you know, they run into me sometimes. They're like, yo, why'd you do that? I was like, yo, man, every time you laugh on my Instagram, so when I was feeling like a fucking pig, yeah, that's what I was doing every day. I just put it there so you can see I'm there. There's no secret.
This is what it takes.
There's no magic. There was, you know, like, yeah, I was tired yesterday. Yo, it was raining yesterday. Yeah, I was out there anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes that type of discipline and accountability for yourself. But I think it comes down to, like, there is education, but there's also that discipline part that I think a generation is lost. They're just like you said, they're
soft.
They like the
want
Amazon Prime. They want this. They want that fast. But you know, I want to look like this. What pill do I take? I was like, there's no pill, bro. There's no magic pill. Right. You know, you actually gotta put the steps in. You gotta do what you gotta do and stuff like that. Yeah,
There's no getting around getting in shape. You gotta really, I mean, put the work in.
You didn't take a pill to gain the weight. You're not gonna take a pill to lose the weight.
Right.
And most of those pills, let's say it here and now, are very dangerous for you.
All right. I mean, I don't know much about the pills that are out here, but I'm
You know,
sure.
anything that's gonna, and all those pre-workouts and all those fat burners, they accelerate your heart rate. And if you're out of shape, your heart rate's already accelerated because you're heavy. Right. Your heart's got to work heavier to move all that mass. Now you give it a stimulant. Yeah, you're really asking for trouble.
Well, let's talk about the health and fitness, the proprietary blends, right? You know what those are, right?
Yeah.
They're the secret ingredients that nobody has to tell you what the fuck is in there. It could be garbage. It could be just caffeine.
And most of the time,
and it's not a regulated fucking industry. So, like, people have to understand what they're taking, the jacked and the whatever, the CO2, the CO4, whatever. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah.
I will tell you this. This is one thing I will tell you. If there was an actual product, a pill, a powder, even an injection, anything out there that actually build muscle and burn fat, it'd be all over the internet. It'd be, the president would be talking about it. Maybe not this president. Okay, all right, I got it.
Okay, I got it.
Let's talk some shit for sure. But think about it. If there was a product that you could buy, you know, that would actually burn the fat and build the muscle that really worked, it'd be all over the place. It'd be selling like crazy. That doesn't exist. All these things, you know, it's a supplement. It adds to what you're already doing. And if you need it, and most of the stuff, 90% of the stuff you don't need, it's just wasted money.
Well, here's the craziest part, right? America is really or Western medicine is all about prescription. Right?
All about
So let me give people a holistic kind of view. So if you're sick and you go to the doctor and he tells you take this pill, and if you read the back of the bottle, it says it can cause this, this, and this. Do you not understand that you're maybe fixing this problem and creating 4 new ones? The best thing you can do is try to get yourself in shape so you don't have to take any medicine, right? Medicine is like, you know, for arbitrage, like, you know, like you got to take stuff like you have to go to surgery. I get it. And anesthesia, stuff like that. But I believe, I mean, even look, I have a lot of family members, diabetes. They come to my house, they drop off like 5 or 6 different pill things before they can eat. They got to take all these pills. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? And then I'm like, I start seeing, oh, it's my high this and my high that. I'm like, babe, but maybe you stop eating this shit. Maybe you won't need it. But, you know, they're older than me and I got to respect. Going back, but that part is the education that Butch is talking about. I think the new generation, with all the information and access, just lacks the discipline. Because you can educate yourself all day if you want. You know, you can go online. You can basically learn about anything if you want to. But then the application, the execution, right? It becomes, well, I got to what? Stop doing this or stop going to Starbucks every day?
But the other thing, too, is that there is some products that make eating a good, healthy meal, you know, diet. And I hate saying diet, but maybe a plan. There's a lot of products out there now that actually help you with that we didn't have back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we had like metrics, right? Shape?
Right. That was the first. And all that shit's experimental. You know, it's
right.
You know, like back in the day, when we first started, they're like, yeah, try this shit.
Yeah. You know, we didn't know it was working, you know. But today there's a lot of products out there. They have these, you know, little plant-based noodles or the plant-based cereals and
alternative
lower
food
calorie.
alternatives. You mean? Yeah.
Alternatives that can really help make the whole process a lot
Easier.
simpler.
Yeah,
There is one downside. A lot of this stuff is more expensive. Hopefully, it'll come down in price. But there are some alternatives. I mean, we had broccoli, chicken, tuna fish. That was it. That's whole wheat bread. If you had any kind of bread,
Steamed chicken and broccoli from the
Yeah.
Chinese store is what I used to rock
so-
with because I didn't cook.
right.
Yeah,
So
that was it.
Didn't
there-
taste bad.
right.
Didn't taste like anything. And that's okay, but you gotta understand. Now I use Frank's Red Hot Sauce. Put that shit on everything.
Right.
Plug.
You got cha-ching. So yeah, it's just, you have a lot more options, a lot more ideas that you can do. But it's important to emphasize, listen, when we got locked down, right? Stay inside, use your mask.
I got fluffy.
Right? Don't exercise. Don't go to gyms. They demonize the gyms. They demonize them, and that's where everybody should have been.
Yeah.
They should have been working out, should staying lean, losing the weight. They let the bars stay open, the
Right.
liquor stores.
You need that.
Yeah, you gotta have the liquor.
That's essential.
You gotta, so medicate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But they didn't. Let's kill the root of the problem. Let's get everybody as healthy as we can.
There's no money in that, though.
All right. Well, that's the problem.
There you go. It's
But you
Western
got to
medicine.
educate everyone, let everybody know your health is number one. That should be now the really, when you measure if somebody's successful or not. I think to me, you're super successful if you're extremely healthy.
Right.
Because then if you don't have your health, right?
Yeah, you can't enjoy anything.
You can't
enjoy anything.
You can't enjoy anything. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
So your health should be a big measure of success. Unfortunately, it's the bank account.
Right.
Which, okay, good. Listen, I think money's great. You know what I mean? I have a good relationship with money.
Yeah.
But it's not the real measure of success.
Right.
The measure of success is being super healthy, strong, being able to take care of your family, protect your family, whatever needs to be done. That's what's important. Most people don't do that now. Mostly they'll just, let me just work 100 hours and make more money and not take care of their health. And that's a real detriment down the line.
Right, run themselves to fucking ground and then wake up and they're like 100 pounds overweight, have pre-diabetic symptoms like high blood pressure and can't see too well anymore and shit like that. Like, those are things that as you get older, you start to realize those things are fucking important, Like, I got to wear glasses now to use the computer screens. I hate that shit.
Me too.
I hate that shit.
Talking about? What are you guys talking about? I got to wear glasses to see everything. You're kidding me? You're kidding me? So
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, if somebody needs to reach out to you, what's your preferred way of communication?
Well, I'm on all the social platforms. I'm on, well, not all, I should say.
Which is the best one for you?
Either Instagram or Facebook.
Okay.
I have Mr. America's Training Camp on Instagram.
Okay.
I have Butch Nieves on Instagram.
Okay.
And then I have Butch Nieves on Facebook, same thing, and Mr. America's Training Camp on
Facebook.
On Facebook as well.
Where do you have more people? Facebook or?
Well, I think I have more on Facebook because I've been there longer.
Yeah.
So we're starting to build Instagram. I notice our Instagram does get more activity.
Right.
Well,
Facebook, I mean, Instagram's more linear. Like, you kind of go and you scroll, it's kind of faster. Facebook, for me, I'm just talking from my experience with it. I just feel like it's fucking immersive. Like, you end up in one place and you're in there for like an hour. Like you end up totally somewhere else.
Yep.
And I'm like, I can't even go in here no more because to me, like, Instagram to me is easier. I go in, find out what I got, get out. But Facebook is just
Sucks you in.
Yeah, sucks you into the matrix, and I end up being
It's
there.
like TikTok, right? You start with a TikTok and you're there 2 hours later, You're like, oh my goodness, what happened just here,
Derek, what about you? Where can they find you? And look at the camera when you talk, please.
Well, ditto. I mean, in terms of
Mr. Americas?
Mr. Americas. They could also hit me up on my email, DerekBFilm@gmail.com.
What about Raging Rican at AOL.com?
No, that doesn't exist anymore. How the hell did you remember that?
You like that?
That was my first.
You like that? AOL Messenger.
Everyone used to
Raging
laugh at
Rican,
me.
AOL.
Like,
Yeah.
Raging Rican. What the hell
Yeah,
is all
yeah.
that about?
This
This
is
guy got a
This is embarrassing. He did his due diligence for sure.
Yeah.
Cow, you are thorough, man.
All right, guys. So listen, not Raging Rican at AOL.com, all right? Not Raging Rican at AOL.com. Mr. America's Training Camp.
Derek B. Films.
Derek
at
B. Films.
gmail.com.
Letter B. Films at gmail.com. Guys, thank you for your time. Thanks for being on. Guys, I'll see you soon.